Hey everybody, here for Love and Hip Hop Hollywood Season 3, Episode 4. Let's get into it. So it begins with Ray J and Max, and they're in the studio. Since the whole thing with this store, Max has been staying, he's been sleeping in the studio and focusing on music. He refuses to even, acknowledge Brandy, talk to her. He wants to talk to her when he's ready. So, Ray is like, how do you feel about that? And he's like, well, I feel betrayed because as long as we've been together, we've been Bonnie and Clyde, ride or die. And the fact that she felt like she had to lie to me, it hurts my feelings because I've never told her no. So, he's like, I don't know why Brandy felt the need to lie to me about the money. I don't care about the money. It's basically about the fact that, she couldn't trust me enough to tell me that she had a store. I wouldn't have told her no. I probably would have gave her the money for it. And I'm like, well, yeah, Brandy wasn't thinking or whatever. So, he's like, he forgives, but he doesn't forget. And, she lied to him and he feels a way about that. So Ray J is like, wow, getting married, can you really trust anyone? And is this what I have to look forward to as far as marriage goes and whatnot? And I'm like, well, Ray J, don't let this discourage you from wanting to get married. Everybody's relationship is different. And, you and Princess are just going to have to establish what's like do's and don'ts of your relationship. Simple and plain. Like, you can't base, your opinion off of somebody else's relationship because everybody has different everybody's relationship is different. So now we get to Lyrica and Mama Lyrica, and Lyrica is rehearsing her song Hello. First of all, Lyrica can sing, and I hope after this show, after being on Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, I hope Lyrica blow up like K. Michelle did, because Lyrica can sing. Because there be people on these shows who, they'll sit up there and say they singers and all of that and whatnot, but they don't really go nowhere. Like, I want Lyrica to blow up from this show, and I want Tierra Marie to blow up from this show, but it's like Tierra Marie, like, her music has been kind of sort of mediocre. And the thing is, she has a nice voice. So, K. Michelle being the only person that really, literally, seriously blew up from Love and Hip Hop, I'm ready for somebody else to blow up just like that. And I think Lyrica will be, because that girl got a voice. So she's singing the song, and then she asks her mom her opinion, and her mom is telling her, well, when you sing the hello part, you need to go higher. Sing it from, you're deaf. And then she sung it again, and she started ad-libbing, and I'm like, yes, girl, yes. So they started discussing A1's mom, Pam, and Lyrica's like, she wants them to get along because when there's family functions, she doesn't want it to be any type of drama. And, Mama Lyrica is like, I don't have a problem with it. It's just that, she feels offended every time I say something to her. And, Lyrica is like, well, every time I try to invite you to the house, you always say no because, Pam is there. And she's like, well, yeah, I don't want to be around her because she's ratchet and she's too much. She doesn't like me. So, Lyrica is like, listen, we're going to get married soon. All I want is peace and positivity between the two of you. So Lyrica's mom is willing to meet up with Pam and talk or whatever and find out what the real issue is. But she feels like it's pointless because Pam is very, she's always on the defense. So she's like, I'll talk to her, but I'll see what happens. And I don't know, people don't like you and people don't mesh well with you. It is what it is. So now we get to Masika, Nia, and Jason, and, I think they're going baby shopping or whatever. So Masika starts talking about the Twitter war that her and Fetty Wap have been having because he's been denying the baby and whatnot. So, Nia is like, well, everything that he's saying on social media is making him look like a deadbeat before the baby is even here. So she said, well, Jason, don't quote me on this. Don't put this on no blogs. But I filed to have him served with a paternity suit since he's denying that our baby is his. So, she said that he did reach out to her and he wanted to know if he could come to the hospital, and that he apologized for everything that was going on social media. So that got her questioning his intentions, like if he really wants to be there or if he's just feeding her hopes and dreams again. So she's like, she'll have a sit down with him, but she has to make it clear, like, listen, this is our baby. If you want to be in her life, you got to do right by her. If not, I have to do what I got to do, and I have to file a paternity suit. So, they're like, well, good luck with everything. I hope he does do right, and it is what it is. So we finally get to see Safaree. Okay, here's my thing. I didn't have a problem with Safaree. I read about what happened between him and Nicki Minaj and Meek Mill and all this other craziness. And, I felt bad for the guy because I feel like he got played with the breakup and everything. But it's like he came on this show wild, annoying, showing off, looking all kinds of stupid. Like, I hate when people come on this show. Like, why couldn't they just come on like Lyrica and A1? Lyrica and A1 came on the show this season and they were just real laid back, chill. They name dropped and everything, but they wasn't like throwing their success in our faces. Safaree was showboating and showing off this entire episode, and I was so annoyed by like the third time he popped up on my screen. I'm like, oh my god, he is so annoying. Like, he's over the top for no reason. So his backstory. Him and Nicki Minaj was together for 12 years. He did a lot for her career as far as A&R, producing and all this other stuff, songwriting, all of this stuff. So for 12 years he was in Nicki Minaj's shadow, but now he's focused on himself. So now and then in the midst of him saying this, he's on a bike riding around in LA showing off or whatever. So he ends up at Yessie Ortiz, I think that's what, Hot 107 something in LA. I forgot the numbers. But he ends up at her show, and she starts the interview. He says that he's building his own brand and building everything from the bottom up because people only know him as being affiliated with Nikki. So he's like, he doesn't want to be called SB. He doesn't want to be called Scaff Breezy. And then he started busting out this Jamaican patois. And I'm like, all right, we know that you're Jamaican, but I feel like he's doing too much. Today was Labor Day. So how don't nobody want to be West Indian until Labor Day comes around? That's what Safaree was giving me tonight. Like, cause I've never heard him speak in the patois or whatever. And from what I heard, he wasn't speaking like that when he was with Nikki. But now all of a sudden, he's Jamaican American and, Jamaica this and Jamaica that. And I'm like, what, Jamaica Queens? Because like, come on, dude, you're doing too much. So of course, questions about Nikki popped up in the interview, and he's like, he wants to get past his old relationship with Nikki. He wants nothing but the best for her, but he just wants to focus on himself, and he knows that in every interview that he does, people are going to ask about Nikki. But yes, he was asking him, are you single? Are you looking for love? Blah, blah, blah. He said, yeah, I'm single, but I am looking because I hate being lonely. This coconut oil isn't going to apply itself. And I was like, okay, that's funny. That's true. So, I'm like, all right, so that's cute. But of course, in the interview, this is the only show I wake up early for. It's going down. Just mad loud and over the top. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I think Safaree's going to annoy me this season. We'll see. But I think he's going to annoy the hell out of me. So now we get to Mika and Fetty Wap, and they meet up. Mika has like so many emotions. She's happy to see him. She's anxious. She's sad. She's upset. So she gives him a hug or whatever. They sit down and they talk, and it's a long overdue talk. So, he's like, he wants to be a dad. He wants to be there for the baby. And, she's like, well, what changed? What made you decide to want to be in your daughter's life all of a sudden? He's like, what? I just manned up. I just had to think, would I want my daughter to be out here not knowing who her father is or whatever. So she said that the fact that he acknowledged that he made a mistake, it made her feel a lot better, and it made her hopeful that her daughter will have both her parents around. So she's like, if he would have been this way the whole entire time, we would have been good. So, we'll just see what the future holds. And I'm like, well, at least y'all are having an adult conversation as it pertains to the baby. Because whether he likes it or not, the baby is coming. She's coming. You can't help that. She's coming. She's here. It is what it is. So, now we get to Max and Brandy. And Max is in the strip club just, making it rain. And, he's like, he hasn't been home still, but he's having too much fun in the streets, so he's not bothering going home. So Brandy saw the location on Instagram with her lurking ass. We know she stay lurking. And she showed up to the strip club to talk. So when she gets there, she's like, can we sit someplace else? Because she getting upset that he's in the strip club. And I'm like, Brandy, first of all, you don't come in there making no demands because you the one that messed up. Deal with what you deal with. Put your big girl drawers on and, deal. So, and she's like, well, I guess we're going to be smelling stank cooch while I talk to you. So I guess that's what I have to do. And I'm like, Brandy annoys me. Brandy, little bobble-headed self, she just annoys me. She is so annoying. Like, she's so annoying. So, they start talking about the money, and she said that she wanted to impress him. And he's like, I don't care about the money. I can replace the money. When have I ever told you no? If you would have told me from the get-go that you were opening up a store and that you needed the money for it, you would have got it, no question. But the fact that you felt like you had to lie to me, that bothers me. And she's like, well, I want you to just know and think of it as a lie that's going to pay off, because the $27,000 that I took to use, I'm going to flip that and I'm going to triple it for something better. And he's like, okay, but I don't care about the money. It's the fact that you lie to me. And she's like, well, and he's like, now there's good lies and there's bad lies. And, she's like, well, you need to come home because our son keeps asking for you. And he'd be like, oh, daddy, who's at the door? Open door. And I don't open the door because I know it's not you. And I'm like, seriously? So now you're going to try baby talk and using your son as a pawn to get him to come home? And even he said it. He was like, she's trying, I miss my son, but she's trying to bait me into coming home because he misses me. And that's not the case. You're not going to use my son to make me come home when what you did was foul. So he's like, the way she's approaching the whole situation is wrong. So he's like, I don't even know why she's here. I don't want to hear nothing she has to say. I'll be home when I'm home. And then he gets up to walk away. And Brandy is like, well, it's been 2 days and you need to come home. And as she's trying to get up and go behind him, security stops her. And she's upset, talking about, no. I'm like, Brandy, you're an embarrassment. Like, she's an embarrassment. So Safaree is at the pool and he goes poolside and Miss Nikki baby is laying there. So Nikki says that Safaree is one of the people that she's speaking to and she's taking it slow with him. She says she met him at an event months ago, and he said the same thing. They met at an event months ago and they clicked and they're just hanging out. So they're just discussing where they stand with each other, and she's like, I just want to take things slow. I want to just have fun and see what else is out there, see where we go or whatever. So she knows that they genuinely care for each other, that they do like each other, that there is some type of chemistry there. So he gives her like a one love, like friendship bracelet type thing, which I thought was cute, but I'm like, okay, Safaree. But, she's like, I don't care about jewelry. I could buy my own jewelry. I'm a boss or whatever. So, but the fact that he gave me this just shows me that he genuinely cares for me. And, we'll just see where it goes. So that's basically it. Like, the same thing she was doing with Fizz is like, she's just dating, seeing what she likes. Nothing wrong with that. So now we get to Lyrica and Pam and their sit down. And, she wants them to come together and have a respectful relationship moving forward. But Pam can't understand that she overstayed her welcome living with Lyrica and A1. And she's like, well, who's going to find a place in 2 months? And if I'm with my son, I'm with my son. It doesn't matter how long I stay there. But, Lyrica is like, but there's a such thing as overstaying your welcome. If you were supposed to be there for 2 weeks and you were supposed to be looking for a place, then why are you there for 4 months? After a while, like, your welcome, it's run out or whatever. So, Pam is like, why are we having this discussion? It's not like I'm living with you. And, Lyrica is like, are you easily offended, Pam? And she's like, yes. And she's like, yeah, because every time I say something to you, you always feel a way about it. So Pam said that she feels like Lyrica is always, like, putting her down. Like, she never has anything nice to say. So Lyrica is basically like, well, you need to, work on being easily offended, because I don't mean to offend you. I'm just trying to help you. And I'm like, yeah, she is always on the defense. And it's like, well, maybe half the stuff that Lyrica is saying is the truth and you just don't want to hear it. So now we get to Ray J, A1, and Safaree. And Safaree is recording this. It sounds like reggae slash rap slash something, because of course he doing the Jamaican patois again, and then he has a Jamaica flag hanging up in the studio. And it's like, at this point, I'm like, Safaree, who are you trying to convince that you are like, even if he is Jamaican, okay, but people whose actual culture that is, like, I know a bunch of Jamaicans, a bunch of Trinity, like, I know a bunch of West Indian people who do not have to put on this hard for their culture. Like, Safaree is doing too much. Like, he's reminding me of a dude who's like, yeah, I got Indian in my family. And then you just come out of nowhere with a bunch of Native American, headpieces. Like, he was doing too much. He got the Jamaican flag in the booth with him. And then he's doing like a reggae song. And I'm like, I feel like he's just trying to convince everybody on TV, like, yeah, I'm really Jamaican. Nobody cares. We heard you when you said it the first time. If you'd have said it the first time and left it there, we'd have been fine with that. So, anyway, we get to them in the studio, and he's saying he's in a better headspace. He's gonna keep him and Nikki's relationship to himself. And A1 discusses that he's having a hard time with Lyrica's mom, and that they have mama beef. And he's thinking about, he wants to upgrade her ring, and he wants to let the moms know, like, listen, we're getting married. This is what we want to do. We want y'all to come together. And if y'all can't come together, then we just gonna have to do our own thing or whatever. We're in it forever. So, like I said, he upgraded her ring, and he showed them the ring. They like, wow, that's beautiful. He's like, yeah, I just want them to, like, they need to get along, and they need to get along for the sake of us. So, the guys are like, well, good luck with that, man, because I know that's a headache. He's like, yeah, it is a headache, and it's causing a strain on our relationship. So now we get to Mika, and Mika, her water broke. And she called Fetty and let him know that her water broke and the baby is early. So Fetty was in Jersey, but he said that he's going to hop on a plane and come to LA for the birth of the baby. So, she's at LA hospital, where she's, laying in a bed, and her contractions are getting closer. And, as she's in the hospital, she's there with her parents, I believe. Fetty is on his way. He landed, and he's on his way to the hospital. He rushed to the hospital, and he's there. She gives birth to the baby, and she's happy that the baby was welcomed with, grandparents, both of her parents and whatnot. So, she's like, it was love at first sight, which is what the majority, not every mother feels love at first sight. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's some mothers who don't know how to feel when they give birth to their babies, which is cool. Like, either reaction is natural. But there's other parents who, when they give birth to their babies, they're like instantly in love. And that's what Mika says she experienced. And she's like, Kari, Barbie, Maxwell, mommy and daddy love you so much. And I'm like, that's a beautiful name. Like, I remember her saying the name of her daughter, but I didn't know her daughter's full name. And that's a cute little name. Like, you can already tell her daughter is going to be a little diva. And it's, that's fine. That's cute. And I'm glad that her and Fetty put their differences aside. He was there for the birth of the baby, and they worked things out right now, because I don't think it's going to stay that way the rest of the season. But for right now, it's a nice, thought. So now we get to Nikki and Rosa, and she's doing a shoot with Rosa Acosta, the new by Nikki line. And, Rosa actually turns out to be her other boo. And she's like that her and Rosa were friends first, but they had an attraction to each other. So, she's never really been serious with a woman, but she's having fun with it. So, you know, Rosa, they start talking about, you know, men relationships versus women relationships. And Rosa is like, well, I'm having fun dating girls, you know. I don't really care for men or whatever. And, you know, she's like, would you lie to me if you were seeing someone else? Are you seeing someone else? And Nikki is like, no. Well, I mean, and I'm like, why would you tell her no? Why wouldn't you just flat out answer the question? Like, if y'all are friends, you could have kept it real with her and been like, yeah, I'm seeing what else is out there. You know, I value what we have, but I am dating and seeing what I like. I think Rosa would have respected you more if you'd have said that versus her finding out that you are seeing somebody else, which is what she's going to find out at some point. So Rosa is like, she would be bothered if she found out that Nikki was talking to somebody else. And Nikki is like, well, I'm keeping Safaree as, you know, I'm keeping him a secret because I don't know how far my relationship is going to go with him. And I don't know how far my relationship is going to go with her. But I do want to test the waters and see what I like. I just don't want to lose either one of them because, you know, I like what I like. I'm like, okay, Nikki, but you shouldn't have lied to that girl and you shouldn't have lied to Safaree. You should have just told them, you know. So now we get to Mama Lyrica, A1, and Pam. So Pam finally moved out of Lyrica and A1's apartment. And, you know, again, Lyrica and A1 wants them to get along, you know, because they're going to be a family when Lyrica and A1 get married. So, you know, I think Pam was like, well, we're not a family yet. So, you know, they make a toast or whatever, and they even argued over who going to make the toast first or whatever. So Lyrica was like, well, let's make a toast to Pam getting the hell out. So Pam was like, getting the hell out of where? So, of course, she got offended because Lyrica said that. And they start arguing, and she's like, what does this have to do with anything? And Lyrica is like, well, you moved out. You should be proud. She's like, yeah, but that has nothing to do with you. It has to do with me and A1. I'm his mother. If I want to stay with him, I'm going to stay with him. So, you know, they started getting loud. A1 trying to calm his mother down. Lyrica's mother is calling Pam a bitch. So Lyrica is like, you're not going to call my mom a bitch. And they just going back and forth. Mama Lyrica threw food or something at Pam. And, you know, A1 is trying to defuse the situation, but they just start screaming or whatever. And Lyrica starts to cry. And I'm like, y'all are so immature. And I'm like, you know what? If it's really this bad with A1 and Lyrica's mother, then you gonna have to push them to the back. You have to put them to the back burner, and y'all gonna have to think about y'all and y'all relationship. It's a shame that parents have that much of a strain on a relationship that they make things worse for you. And it's like, after a while, you can't keep babysitting grown people and telling them right from wrong. They're grown. Regardless, yeah, that's your mom, you love them, but you can love them from a distance and go off and start your own life. Like, because it's ridiculous. If you try to get them to be cordial and get along and they don't want to do it, then stop trying. It's a waste of time. It really is. And I hope Lyrica and A1 get it together, you know, be it with their moms, without their moms, whatever. But like I said, you can't tell grown people what to do. But that was the episode. This was an okay episode. Y'all tell me how y'all felt about it. Please like, comment, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And I'll see you guys in the next video. I hope everybody enjoyed their Labor Day. I already heard that it's been crazy because Juve, you know, people got shot and other people were injured. And it's like, it's bananas. Like, I won't be surprised if they shut Juve down for, you know, years to come, because every single year, like in a row, people have been dying at Juve. It's really, really sad. And, you know, my prayers go out to the two people who were killed. One of the girls who was killed, they identified who she was, and she was young. She was the same age as a sibling of mine, and I'm like, that's just sad. Like, people can't just have fun anymore. It's really, really sad. But other than that, I hope everybody enjoyed their Labor Day. School starts this week. I go back to work this week. But it's cool. Yeah, so I see you guys in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, and that's it. Night. Later.